So tell us a little bit about Silent Night, Deadly Night from our friends over at IMDb.
All right.
Booyah.
This is from IMDb. Little Billy witnesses his parents getting killed by Santa after being warned by his senile grandpa that Santa punishes those who are naughty. Now Billy is 18 and out of the orphanage, and he has just become Santa himself.
Yes.
And then he kills a bunch of people.
This movie is a very simple concept, a very simple moral code for the slasher, the killer.
Feel like the writer, they didn't Google because Google wasn't around back then, but they Googled Psychology 101 and they just they came up with this story.
Yeah, because you have essentially, and there will be spoilers throughout this one. I mean, I don't even think the spoilers are that. I don't think it's that important to to be spoiled or not.
You get the idea what's going to happen in this movie.
In this movie,
this guy's going to dress
really
as Santa and he's going to kill people.
Yes, and it's all about the good bloody fun. It's all about the big-breasted women. It's all about it. This is definitely more of an exploitative slasher film. Not like
schlocky.
more schlocky slasher film than last week. We talked about Black Christmas, which is definitely
everything about Black Christmas. This is not.
This is the opposite.
This is the opposite.
It does exactly the opposite.
Lowbrow, schlocky, campy.
And that's the best part.
Fun.
And that's the best part. In fact, Kyle, I know for a fact you have not yet seen Terrifier 3, but I have. And I can't help but notice the obvious homage to Silent Night, Deadly Night, because seeing Terrifier 3 and seeing how what's the killer's name again? The fuck's his name in Terrifier?
Art.
Oh my god. Art. Seeing Art parade around in a Santa outfit for like more than half of the movie, killing people, gave me a lot of vibes, a lot of Silent Night, Deadly Night vibes. Anyways. Schlocky slasher movie, and there's nothing wrong with that because it's great, good, fun. I like the setup, what it's going for.
Should we talk about the setup a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about the setup.
So this all starts with a young couple bringing their children to the local mental hospital, as one does, to visit Grandpa, who appears to be catatonic.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, as soon as the parents leave, he's like, Santa's going to come get you tonight. Santa's going to get you because you are naughty. He punishes those who are naughty.
Yeah. Is he the character that, who's the character that says, is he the one that talks weird and says like some shit like, who says like, Christmas Eve is the scariest night of the night or something
that
like
was
that.
Grandpa.
That was him. What was the line again? I found that line so funny.
Maybe it's on IMDb.
And the way he says it. Let's see. You scared, ain't you? You should be. Christmas Eve is the scariest damn night of the year. He says that's what he says apparently.
So the grandpa traumatizes the kid by telling him Santa's going to punish him because he was naughty. And of course, as soon as the parents come back, he switches back to being catatonic.
Yeah.
And then, of course, naturally, we cut to Santa, a guy dressed in a Santa suit, robbing a liquor store, murdering the cashier, absconding with the cash, I guess, hightailing it. His car breaks down. We have the unsuspecting young couple arrive on the scene and get brutally murdered by this guy in front of the kid after he was just told Santa was out to punish people.
I mean, the timing.
The timing is impeccable.
It's impeccable timing.
We continue our story a few years later down the line. And Billy ends up in the worst Catholic orphanage.
Yes, literally the worst one you could possibly get.
and whatever kind of psychological help that he needs,
Yeah.
they're not giving it. Obviously, he is not well adjusted. He does not care for Santa Claus, as you could expect, as any normal, rational person could expect. The sisters at this orphanage, though, they're not getting it.
No, they're not at all. They're just extremely abusive and tone deaf to what this kid needs.
They get upset when he draws Santa dismembered and all of that.
Yeah.
And how are these people allowed to anywhere near children?
I know, seriously.
Especially children with these kind of issues, you know.
Seriously.
I know this was the 80s, but even back then, they had psychologists and all that.
You know what I found interesting? I was listening to a talk that Quentin Tarantino did on this movie because apparently he loves Silent Night, Deadly Night.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. And Quentin Tarantino, he said that he doesn't want to say it was exactly the same, but he said that he found the similarities of Billy's treatment in the orphanage to be shockingly similar to his own as a child. He said not to the same extent, but he said that there were adults like that in his life growing up that were exactly the same way. Not every adult, whereas like in Billy's world, it seems that it was every adult who treated him that way after his parents are murdered.
I mean, I'm not doubting that.
Yeah, so
but when you watch the movie, you can't help but think these people are incredibly incompetent.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
They are 100% to blame for everything that happens.
Yes. And then, of course, where does Billy go on to work?
Oh, yeah. When he turns 18, his first job is working in a toy store during Christmas season.
Time. And
how fucking incompetent do you have to be like, you know, this... Oh, you know the kid from the orphanage who is terrified of Santa Claus and hates Christmas because his parents were brutally murdered by someone dressed as Santa Claus? Maybe he should work at the toy store
and maybe
during Christmas season.
Maybe we should pressure him to dress up as Santa.
Yeah, let's pressure him to dress up as Santa.
And let's just force him to relive that childhood trauma every single day of his life, right? Yeah, definitely. This killer is born out of just the sheer incompetence of the system to take care of people who need genuine, emotional health and mental health.
Nobody's nice to Billy.
Help.
Nobody's nice to that guy.
No one's nice to Billy.
Not the Mother Superior. Not really even the sister who's like helpful.
Yeah.
That's the problem. She's not helpful. She probably thinks she's being nice, but she's not getting him the help that he needs.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you got the alcoholic boss at the toy store who's out of it. And then you got that like short Italian guy in the stock room, who's unnecessarily aggressive towards him for like nothing.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't like the look of you. You've been acting all weird since Christmas. I don't trust you.
Yeah. And then is that who he strangles with the lights?
That's who he strangles with the lights.
That's who he strangles with the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And then the woman who's like in the middle of getting raped by that guy is like, you're a monster for killing him. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. What the fuck?
Like, her reaction is, you're crazy. What?
Yeah, it feels like everyone just automatically hates Billy for some reason.
Everybody hates Billy, and Billy has had enough of that.
I think that eschews a lot of his motivations because I like the motivation of killing people who are naughty, but then from his perspective, it seems that just everybody's naughty, right? Anybody who gets in his way is naughty.
Yeah, except the one girl who swore she wasn't naughty. He gave her that box cutter. Remember?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and
I did like that touch.
Yes. So, I mean, hey, at least he's got a moral code. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you're not naughty, you're fine.
How about you tell us a little bit about one of my favorite scenes as well, the sledding scene.
Oh,
How would
yeah.
how would you walk us through that one?
Yeah, it's 1984. So in the 80s, they were obsessed with bullying.
Yes, bullying,
Lots of bullying in the 80s and 80s movies. So there are these kids that are sledding on the smallest incline.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically flat ground. They're like, they're two, at the beginning of the scene, they're like, these two kids are debating about whether or not they're going to sled down this hill that is like barely an incline. It's like you could, like a bowling ball wouldn't be able to go down that, it's like, it's almost flat, almost totally flat, but they're terrified of going down this hill for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I was a kid, I would not have even tried to sled down that because it wouldn't be possible. It was almost flat. I don't know what was going on there. But anyway, two slightly taller, much more homely looking kids show up. They're ugly. They're ugly.
Yeah.
They even said it in the movie, So it's not my words, it's their words,
Yeah.
These kids show up, these ugly kids show up. They steal the sleds because they're bullies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're bullies. They bully them out of the sleds.
Yes.
And then they go down this very shallow incline. One of them gets his head cut off.
Yep.
And then that's it. The scene ends. We
part.
don't know what happened to the other one.
Yeah, he gets
his head lopped off.
Yeah.
Lopped off with the axe.
I love that.
Is that how that works? Would that work? I think it would get stuck.
It would require a significant amount of force, especially considering a lot of axes are not really sharpened for their fine point, but rather weighted to, break through logs. They're not particularly sharp. It just has an edge so that it has a consistent split, and that's
maybe
about it.
Billy played a lot of baseball at the orphanage.
Maybe he got a crazy swing.
He was kind of jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like 6 foot something or other. He was a big guy.
It sounds funny, but I feel like if any movie took inspiration from this movie for its killer, it feels like Rob Zombie's Halloween. And let me explain, because Rob Zombie's Halloween is the same exact way, where everyone is so overly mean to Michael for no reason as when he's a child. And like his stepdad's a horrible person. His mom's like the only somewhat like nice person, right? But his sister is so mean and like nasty to him. And the bullies in the forest that he kills are so mean and nasty to him. And also just the idea of the whole setup of the childhood trauma to sort of explain the motivations later on for this killer. And then also just the actor they chose for that Halloween remake being literally like, wasn't he like a WWE fighter or something like that?
Yeah.
He's like freaking jacked and he's huge.
Yeah.
Right. So if anyone took inspiration from this movie, it was Rob Zombie when he made the Halloween remake.
Rob Zombie, if you're watching this, please comment below if this was an inspiration.
Please comment below. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it felt very inspired for some reason. And
I buy it.
Yeah, I definitely see the correlation here. And this movie, it's pretty much just kind of reminds me of like a lot of great other like fun slasher movies that are pretty much just like all about the kills and about the schlocky stuff, the nudity, the gore, the violence. I think it reminds me of some of the later Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
My Bloody Valentine, to name another holiday horror movie.
I love that movie.
That one's a lot of fun too.
There's something to be said about, even though it is a silly movie, even though it's a silly movie, I thought they did a good job of kind of building up the psychology behind what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, from the grandpa to watching his parents be brutally murdered,
Yeah.
his mom being exposed,
Yeah.
and then seeing the woman through the keyhole later on and being punished for that,
Mm-hmm.
and the mother superior's reaction to that, and all these things compounding
Mm-hmm.
to him lashing out like this.
Yeah.
You know, it made sense. There was a logic to it, you know, and that might sound like damning with faint praise, but I think for a film like this, it was well thought out. You know?
Definitely. Yeah, I agree. It's like, you know, it might be like just like a fun slasher, but there was a lot. I think like 99% of the thought of this movie's story went into just that, setting up those motivations that Billy has and everything. So yeah. And it all comes to fruition in the final confrontation when Billy attacks Mother Superior at the orphanage, right? How about you tell us, what is this movie's ending implying, and what do you think of the final confrontation that happens?
I really wanted him to kill her. That's funny, you know, because obviously he's killing innocent people, but by the time you get to her, you're like, you know,
Okay.
she was the one person where I was like,
You're like,
yeah,
okay.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Because she fueled the fire in him, you know. She's the reason he ended up like that.
Even as schlocky as a film as it is, as much as it feels like this movie was made for the fun of it, you know, more than anything, I think I respect at least the setup, and I respect the ending having some sort of like interesting implication that the cycle of trauma will continue. Right.
And
it'll happen
I do
again.
like that she doesn't die because it makes you be like, "Rrr."
Yeah, exactly.
Like that she's the reason this happened, and she's
the one
away with
person
it.
who deserved it.
She's the only person who deserved it. I mean, you know, nobody deserves to die, but you know, in the context of a slasher movie, she deserved it, and she's the one person who gets away with it. And just her getting away with basically creating this monster that is Billy is so frustrating, but like in a good way.
Yeah,
it's fun.
Absolutely.
It's very fun watching this psychologically tortured man break and murder a bunch of people.
Do you have a favorite scene or a favorite character? Other than Grandpa?
Oh, Grandpa was my favorite.
He's
scene.
my favorite character.
Yeah,
he's my favorite scene. That is my favorite scene.
So, who would you recommend this film to? Or in what context would you recommend this film?
It's required viewing for
Up there with Citizen Kane.
for every film student out there. It's required viewing. I would recommend this film. So people who love Terrifier should definitely watch this movie, because it's very much so in the same vein, right? Terrifier is definitely inspired by slashers like this one that are all about the fun, unique or inventive kills and the gore and the blood and the violence. So if you're a fan of Terrifier, you should go back and watch this movie, because it's a lot of fun kills. And if you just like kind of obscene if you like obscene horror movies just because you find them to be fun, and or if you like movies that were controversial at the time of their release, this is definitely one. So tell the good people at home, Kyle, why was this movie so controversial when it came out?
Well, it wasn't the misogyny.
No, it wasn't the misogyny.
It was Santa killing people.
It was someone dressed up as Santa killing people.
Even though this is an R-rated movie that kids would never go see.
It's an R-rated horror film that you should just be smart enough not to show your kids who believe in Santa.
People were upset adults that know Santa isn't real were upset.
Spoiler for the kids,
Yeah.
Kyle. The kids.
Were upset that Santa was depicted as a murderer.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I
And
would
it
make of
started
that.
a whole fucking thing.
Yeah. But this is a great film if you want to just like turn your brain off.
I like doing that.
Go full lizard brain mode. Just watch blood and guts, some gratuitous nudity, and just watch it's very, very campy.
Very
But
campy.
if that's fun to you, you should check it out. I had fun watching it. It's not a serious movie.
No.
But that's fine.
That's fine.
We like those.
Doesn't need to be a Black Christmas every single time.
Yes,
Every time we
this
make
is
a
a
Christmas
good
horror movie.
This is a good antidote to Black Christmas.
Watch Black Christmas first.
Then when you're depressed, you can watch this and
watch
be
Silent
like,
Night, Deadly Night.
funny enough, much gorier, but much less bleak because you don't take it seriously. It's a goofy movie.
It's much, much goofier for sure. And this is a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's a fun
not for your
movie.
kids, but it's fun for...
I think if you were like if you were having people over like drinking,
like you're having a Christmas party, and you're all nogged up,
and you all like this kind of movie, it would be fun to watch for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
great.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us this week on Jake and Kyle's Spooky Good Time. I'm Jake.
I'm Kyle. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've seen Silent Night, Deadly Night. Tell us what you think about it.
Perfect timing.
And that's all we have for this week. Goodbye.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good fright.
I'm cutting that out.
Damn you.